And yes, that was me. Yeah, go check out the new book. There it is, GlennTrekBook.com. All I Need to Know About Success I Learned from Star Trek. I think of it as my personal love letter to Star Trek, with a couple of life lessons thrown in, things that I've learned, believe it or not, from watching episodes and films of a sci-fi franchise, science fiction. You know, some people might think it's a little silly. Listen, why don't you go and decide for yourself? Grab a copy of the book and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear. Now, one of the concepts that is talked about all the time on Star Trek is something called quantum signatures, energy, auras, the energy that flows from one human being to the next, from one being to the next. And you and I are about to have a conversation with someone who can quite literally change your energy. I know, because it's happened to me. Please help me welcome our first guest, the founder of Sumantra Holistic, Emilia Yonge. Emilia, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
Very good, good, good. So now, I know that many times when people hear words like healing, like holistic, and things of this nature, they may not be quite familiar with what that's about. So would you mind taking a moment, just share a little bit about what, the basis of what you do?
Well, holistic, just so you know, means the whole thing. So we're talking about, in terms of healing work, we're talking about a human being in their wholeness. So, for example, like when you're studying to be a doctor or someone in the medical field, you learn about the systems of the body, right? The different systems of the body. And we tend to categorize things in that way, but that's just for learning. You see what I'm saying?
I see.
But
I think so.
But the human being is not the cardiovascular system, the central nervous system, the immune system. You see what I'm saying? That's just for learning.
I see.
The human being has all of that. It's all one thing, and each system affects the other. It's all interconnected.
So what you're saying, I'm not just my liver or
Correct.
my skin
Correct.
or my skeleton or my bone. I am the total, the totality, the sum of who and what I am. And that's where your work comes in, yes?
Yes. Now, we want to expand that a little bit further. So you are not just your physical body. You are also, there is an electromagnetic field that surrounds your body that is related to your emotions, your mind, even your spiritual aspect. And that's why my work is, I call it holistic mental health support, because people tend to think when we're talking about mental health or trying to address the mind, that we need to do something with the brain. But the mind is not localized in the brain. It is actually non-local, for one thing, and it's in this field.
This is interesting. And I was just mentioning some of the things I'd learned from Star Trek. One of the concepts that's talked about in one of the Star Trek series is something called the quantum signature. Each person, each human being radiates or vibrates at a certain frequency.
Exactly.
It sounds to me a little bit like what you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay, so now, how did you get started in this work, Emilia?
Well, I was introduced to it, I would say, in the early 2000s. And at that time, I was about 27 years old, and my life was kind of a mess. And so I dragged myself to a spiritual retreat.
I see.
It's a Sufi retreat. And during that retreat, they were doing some kind of exercise where we were sensing one another's energy fields. But of course, at that time, I didn't know what they were doing. Anyway, so I was paired up with a person, and this happened 2 more times. And I had my hands like this, and my partner was facing me, also had their hands like this, but without touching. And in the space between our hands, I sensed...
Like patty cake without the patty cake.
That's correct. And in that space between our hands, I sensed shapes in the energy field.
Shapes.
Shapes, yes. And then it translated into images in my mind. And when I shared my vision, it was always a very profound insight for my partner. So that happened with two other people. And so at the end of it, I talked to the instructor, and she, and then I also explained to her about how, what was going on with me. And so she referred me to Healing Touch, or I should say the Healing Touch program, so that I could learn more about the energy field, and in particular about how to ground myself so that I would not be taking on other people's energy, especially negative energy.
Okay, ground yourself so that it sounds to me a little bit, Emilia, like you have the personality of what some people refer to as an empath, that you're able to sense other. Yes. Oh, you have been watching. But I know that is a real thing.
It is
as well, and it's. You were sharing with me earlier that you have found a business community where you're able to fully express your gifts, your talents,
Yes.
and use them to help people. I'm talking, of course, about the Katie House of Healing. Tell me a little something about the House of Healing, how you got connected there, and with whom and everything.
Well, the Katie House of Healing, how I ended up there is very interesting because I am a breast cancer thriver.
Oh, wait a minute,
yes.
you didn't say survivor.
No, I did not. I did not. I did not.
Breast
But
cancer,
anyway,
right.
in 2016, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And the doctor who diagnosed me then is now in business for herself. And so when I told her that I was looking for a space to rent for my work, she connected me with Sandra D. And so I visited Sandra D at the Katie House of Healing just to check out the place. But we hit it off so well that on that day, we started moving things out of the room that I was looking at and putting in a massage table. And she gave me like sheets, she gave me like a face cradle cover, etc., etc. And I pretty much started right away. And she connected me with the BNI networking group, which my doctor, Jacinta Anyaku, and Sandra are members of. So I joined the group, and it has been just fantastic.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm actually doing very well with my work. I'm
great.
renting a second room.
Right.
And
I understand you're looking for some help.
Yes, for some help to learn to do what I do, and I can point the way to do that, so that I can focus on more advanced healing and also just opening up the field to more people.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I know, because I've had a session with you, I know what a difference it can make in terms of one's overall sense of well-being, and I felt much calmer, more centered in many ways. We talked about clarity.
That's correct.
In some cases, emotional, but even mental clarity that can come from some of your treatments. It's fantastic. Now, I know that you're also very much involved in our local community here in the Houston area. Can you share a little about that?
Well, I am the founder of Secular Homeschoolers of Houston. It's a secular inclusive group with members all over the greater Houston area. I also founded a breast cancer support group. Actually, that group was physically, I hosted them physically at Texas Oncology in Memorial City in 2017, as well as at my Houston Surgeons, my plastic surgeons practice. So I had to stop doing it physically over there, and of course COVID happened and all that stuff. But now I am in the process of restarting those meetings in conjunction with Dr. Anyaku's Walk with a Doc park events. So I'm hoping to do it at the same park, at the pavilion there. So people can know more about breast cancer and how it affects the mental health And if they have questions also to ask a doctor, Dr. Yonge is there. So
My
it's perfect.
That's great. You've got so many things going on. I understand you also have a new book
Yes.
in the works.
Yes. So I have been doing healing work for 20 years, but actually I have been sensitive to the energy field probably since I was born. So I have distilled all the knowledge that I have gleaned through the years into this book. I've written 1/3 of it already, and basically it's my system of learning energy healing in the most simple way, and that can be improvised to suit any intention and occasion and setting.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so learning the simplest methods of self-healing and energy healing for others. I understand the book is called The 4 Elements of Energy Mediation.
Correct.
Definitely going to be looking for that. You've also got a blog going. And I know that I was just going to ask you how people can reach out to you. I know that your website, the emwoman.com, is currently under construction.
Yes, it's under construction.
Yeah, how else, if someone wants to because I know there are many of our viewers and listeners who are right now thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to go see this lady.
Well, you can check out the Katie House of Healing, and that is 1618 Mason Road. That's in Cinco Ranch. We have a great location near several restaurants, and so besides me, there's also a massage therapist, Sandra D, and we also have an acupuncturist who is very good. I see her.
Oh, all right.
And we have an esthetician who is also a teacher. She's been teaching for 5 years. So you can take care of a lot of your needs by visiting us. It's like a mini retreat almost. Oh. So yes, and you can also reach me. The best way to reach me actually is by text on my phone, and it is 832-477-0407.
Now you shared with me a little story, and I don't think I'm telling you tales out of school here. You were sharing with me a while back that because of the work that you've been able to do with energy healing and with your own experience in this area in holistic mental health support, that you actually were able to manage your own breast cancer experience in a way that seemed to me somewhat easier than other stories I've heard about that. Can you share with me a little bit? Because I know there are so many women that are concerned that are maybe dealing with a breast cancer diagnosis right now. They may want to hear, in the last minute or two that we have left here about your experience, how you were able to come through it.
Yes, I would say that attitude is the key. You have to have a great attitude. And that's what I had going into breast cancer, because for many years I was already dealing with mental health issues in my family and friends, community, and all that. And that's, to me, a bigger beast than cancer, because cancer is a physical disease. And but I also believe that the mental health care for those facing cancer and their caregivers is very important. Should be on par with surgery, reconstruction, chemotherapy, and radiation. And right now it's just an aside, and I'd like to change that. And my mission in life is to improve mental health awareness and care through knowledge and application of energy medicine.
Knowledge and application of energy medicine, as the old author Goethe said, first within, then without.
That's correct.
That's wonderful. So we can find you at
832-477-0407, and hopefully in the spring you can get to themwoman.com.
There you go. And Sumantra Holistic.
Sumantra Holistic is my business.
At gmail.com. Emilia, thank you. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. Looking forward to chatting with you again. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll be right back after these commercial words.